So I made a list and apparently I have tried 12 eyeshadow brands this year. So new eyeshadow brands or new to me basically. So 12 different brands. And that is literally impressive. I made my list and I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of new eyeshadow brands. I knew I had tried a lot, but I just didn't realize it was that many. But basically from some of the brands that I tried, I went ham. I went in. There are quite a few palettes sitting around me. So let's go ahead and jump in. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So like I just mentioned before, I have tried 12 new eyeshadow brands. So I do have one eyeshadow palette. So technically it's 13, but I didn't actually try it. I never put it on my eyes. I purchased from the brand. But you know, we'll talk about that brand when it gets there. And I don't want to dog the brand, but I was just upset with how they handled the situation. But from basically everything I tried, I absolutely love it. So I'm not going to put these in any type of order. I'm just going to talk about the brands and the palettes that I tried. You've seen all of these pretty much here on my channel, except for a few palettes. And I will let you know which ones are my top favorites. So if you are new to this channel, welcome. And if you're an oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in pharmacy. I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. And eyeshadow really is my jam. So this does make sense, but please just call me Ash or Ashley. So like I mentioned before, I have tried 12 new eyeshadow brands. So I have all these palettes laid out. I'm literally like immersed by palettes, but you can't even tell. So we're going to start with the first brand that I tried. And the first brand would be Miss Danessa Myricks. Like I said, I'm not putting this in type of order or anything. So the first thing I picked up from her brand would be the Twin Flames. These are the multi-chrome liquid shadows. Now, sad to say, really sad to say, I never actually tried them. I picked them up. So I think I tried them, and then when I heard some of the reviews that were not that good, I was just like, or at least in the particular shades that I got, I was a little thrown off because two of them were more of the iridescent shades, which are right here. But I'm going to try these out one day. And then I also have a multi-chrome, just straight up multi-chrome pigment. And this is the shade Forever. I have the shade Lust and the shade Passion. And I mean, they're really beautiful on the eyes. What I do like about these things, even though they're liquid shadows, is that, you know, you can just pop these on the eyes rather quickly, have a bomb look like you really tried, and be done. So I wanted to try these out because of Danessa Myricks' popularity with her different formulas and the different types of, textures that she used. And plus, I really enjoyed the Natasha Denona chromium shadows as well. So I was like, let's try my girl Danessa. Now, where she really pulled strings on my heart was this one right here. And this is one of my favorite palettes of the year. This would be the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3. This is the Infinity Light palette. So she has released these before. Like I said, this is volume 3, but she's had 2 other volumes where basically they were more catered to the face. This one is a mixed medium palette where you can use it mostly on your eyes. And the special thing about this is they're dual chromes. Yes. And I've talked about this palette so many times. So Gaia, that shade right there does it for me. Aurora, Galaxy, Martian. I mean, you just have a wonderful array of multi-chromes. And here you have some cream multi-chromes. You got your highlighters in the middle. Yes, it was pricey, but I don't think it was out of the ballpark for multi-chromes, because multi-chromes cost a lot. We're not talking about dual chromes. We're talking about straight up multi-chromes. You have a pressed glitter in the palette. I'm not a fan of pressed glitters, but it was pretty. It was a no mess pressed glitter, like she said, actually swept away very easily, unlike some of the shadows that I wear that are not even pressed glitters. It's just regular standard eyeshadows, and you still left with so many particles on your face even after cleaning your face several times. So really love this. I am looking forward to so much more by her, especially like this. I mean, she just did a fantastic job. She should really make this available again, because I know it's quite a few people that did not get their hands on this, but one of my favorite releases of the year for sure. Now, another brand that I tried was the Pizza Kitty. Well, this is actually, it's called Sugar Drizzle, and this is the Pizza Kitty palette, okay? So I did talk about this in my ranking of my shimmer shimmer shadow palettes. So I'm not sure which one is going up first, that video or this one. But this palette is super cute. So I would say that, you know, this is something fun to try. It was not necessarily like I wouldn't say I'm not looking forward to more for the brand, but I mean, overall, it's just a shimmer palette. So I think those have been very popular this year. You know, it's just been, you know, one of the things that's just taken 2021 by storm, especially on the indie market. It's just that having these all type of shimmer shadows where we have basically a lot of duochromes. Sometimes some of the palettes have been multi-chromes and then just straight up shimmers, which I think I like them because it does give you a lot of inspiration. Now, my shadow up in this palette would be the shade Pew Pew. That is my favorite shadow in this particular palette. That's what really, really drew me in. But I would try more from this brand. But like I said, it's on my radar, but it's not something that's just like, ooh, yes, anything that they're releasing. Because like I said, this palette is something that, you know, you can get from a lot of different brands, and some of the palettes I'm going to show you in my collection from this year. And I mean, so, like, you know, if you get a lot of these palettes, you have to be careful because you're just going to have dupes on dupes. But I don't think it was a bad palette. I felt like the color story was a little different compared to some of the other palettes on the market like this. So that's what really intrigued me. So that is the Sugar Drizzle palette. Now, another brand that I tried this year and I was been super intrigued, especially since last year, so is the Lethal Cosmetics, okay? And I never did a video on my channel with this particular palette, and this is the Velvet Dust palette. And I just really have been looking at this palette because, you know, Lethal's combinations would just draw me in. They're dark, they're grungy, they are vibrant at the same time. And the color combinations are just gorgeous. So this is the palette right here. Look at these beautiful oranges, periwinkles, plums, and greens. And you have just a wide variety of shades. Now, I felt like the Lethal formula was really nice, especially the matte formula. I feel like the shimmers are beautiful, but they were not my favorite. They're just standard shimmers. They weren't bad by any means at all. But for me, it was basically where the mattes. The matte selection is absolutely gorgeous. This is a German indie brand, so the shipping was really quick. I didn't have any problems with that. I did have to pay a little extra because, you know, UPS and all of that. But overall, I really like this. I'm definitely looking forward to more color stories by Lethal. They have put out quite a few different things this year. Like, I know they have the multi-chrome palette this year, but I was like, okay, I just don't need any more multi-chromes after especially buying the Danessa palette. And then I know they did a combination with, or a collab with Teresa is Dead, called Lethal is Dead, which is super cute, but that was more pastels. And pastels on my complexion can be like, hit or miss. But this one is super gorgeous right here. So I'm definitely wanting to try out more things by Lethal. And they have just really intrigued me as a brand, especially with like their single shadows. But let's be honest, like I use my single shadows, but I don't use my single shadows. There's only one brand that I kind of use my single shadows for, or probably only one brand that I really have the most single shadows from. Now this brand right here, oh my gosh. So at first I wasn't even intrigued, but everybody just kept talking about how good this particular palette was. And I was just like, you know what? This would be a good companion palette in my collection. I don't have any rainbow palettes. So if I'm going to get a rainbow palette, let's go with one that a lot of people are really, really enjoying. And then when I picked it up, I felt like, okay, this is a rainbow palette, but with a twist. So I am talking about Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So, you know, rainbow palettes are nothing new to the market. You're just like, okay, it's a rainbow palette. But look at this rainbow palette. And then we have some neutral shades. So it's just literally like majority of all the matte shades that you need. A gorgeous, gorgeous palette. And the wonderful thing about this is like the mattes actually layer on top of each other. It's nothing worse than having a all matte palette and you're trying to do looks and you're trying to pull your mattes together and the mattes are just muddy when you blend it out. Like, it's just an epic fail. But with this right here, it's not. This palette has sold out time and time again, and I was able to get it on one of the restocks, and I am so thrilled with this brand. Now, normally I would not have a rainbow palette in my collection. This is my first time having. I lie. I had the Color Rain. I still have the Color Rain Power Pigments, but you didn't get as many of these particular shades as you with the Power Pigments. I didn't have it in the palette format. I actually had it in the single shadow version. But I just felt like you get so many nice neutrals. So you can transition. You can go in with your nude looks. You get your oranges. You have greens. You have all different variations of basically, you know, the rainbow. And the palette was really, really special to me. I have pulled this palette out so many times when I'm doing looks, especially with my all shimmer palettes, because it's just like you can't beat it. Like, you have everything you need in one situation right here. The price was like $40. It's super affordable. So then when they said that they were going to drop the Surge palette, I was all in, okay? Because I have enjoyed this palette so much. So the Surge palette was just like its grungier sister, and it just, it really did something for me. Like, look at the packaging with, So then you open it. I was a little nervous at first because it had shimmers in it. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure how their shimmer formula is going to be, but let me tell you, it's gorgeous. It's amazing. They're creamy. And then you have the neons, and you have pastels, and you have the grungies. You have distinct color stories. So a lot of people were scared about the neons, but the neons are great because the neons, you could just, you know, pop them in the inner corner. You could pop them on the lid, and it's like, boom, you know, runs, like, especially the mattes right here. I've done looks. I'll try to make sure I like post some pictures. I've definitely done 3 looks, 1 palette on this particular palette. You have the pastels that help blend out these deeper shades. So it is just such a well thought out palette. It's still kind of like a rainbow palette, but it's not a rainbow palette. You know, it's grungy, it's murky. It has, you know, some really sexy tones. It has some jewel tones, like this little quad. I'm living for these little matte situations. This little setup, this right in here, so beautiful. These 2 tones, you know, is really more burgundy, and this is more, even more burgundy purple. The greens in here, I mean, everything is so beautiful. You can use this pink to help blend out the purples. Everything is really, really thought out. So I appreciate like that they have come out with, you know, things that are like rainbow inspired, but a different twist on it, not just a standard, oh, we have blues, greens, yellows, reds, blah, 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 blah. So Blends Bunnies Cosmetics, I'm definitely looking forward to other eyeshadows that they are put on the market. I'm not sure if they can really do another rainbow palette. I'd be like, woo! But these 2, oh my gosh. This one is definitely like a favorite a year. So when I think about some of the favorite brands I've tried, like this one definitely comes to mind, because like I wouldn't even think for me that a rainbow palette would be something, a necessity, because it's never been a necessity for so long. But now I'm just like, try to pry these out of my hands. It ain't finna happen, okay? Next up, this is Glaminatrix, okay? So Glaminatrix Cosmetics, they're out of Australia. They're an indie brand. I love it so much. So I would just like to say, like, this palette is gorgeous. And yes, the brand is a little bit more expensive, but they have really high quality shadows. They're giving you multi-chromes. And also because it is coming from Australia, the shipping is more. Now, I did order their Silent Night palette, and it's stuck at LAX airport. It's been stuck there for like 10 days. Okay, so they got that out really quick. That's their Christmas palette. I'm looking so forward to that Christmas palette. I cannot wait to get in my hands. Like, LAX, come on, post office. We know, but come on. I need my palette, okay? But it's stuck waiting for international clearance, and it's been there for like a week. But this palette is gorgeous. Like, the dual chrome in here is beautiful. You have standard shimmers that are really fun. The color story is really unique. So this brand has just been on my radar. I also ordered the Sandra Rose palette, the new Sandra Rose, because I tried to get that a couple years ago, but it didn't quite work out, basically, because the stuff sells out pretty fast with them. You know, I think this one sold out pretty fast. The Silent Night, they still had some more on. And the Sandra Rose was fast-ish, but so gorgeous. The color stories are so unique. The shimmers out of this world. Like this navy blue, I love it. The red with this red can be intimidating, but with this particular shade, the stitch up is really, really gorgeous. This yellow, I mean, you have just so many beautiful color stories. You could do monochromatic, you could do bold, you could do out there. And I really love this palette. This is one of my, like, I'm definitely looking forward to the color stories, and this is a brand that's definitely been on my radar ever since I tried it. I think the quality is just fantastic. Now this palette I waited forever and a day for, and when I say forever and a day for, I mean forever and a day for. And this is what can be some of the issues when you try indie brands, because the color stories are amazing, the formulas are really great, and it's a lot of popularity, but they don't have the manpower to pull off some of the things. And this was I'm laughing because it was the It's Freakin Bats palette by BeautBean and Shroud Cosmetics. BeautBean, Betty Jean did a fabulous job on this palette, but oh my gosh. So this is the palette that I should have been trying last year, or a brand I should have been trying last year. So she released this collab, and it was supposed to be a Halloween collab. When I say I did not get this until June of this year, because the pre-order that she had to reopen back up after the palette sold out in seconds, she did not close the pre-order. So it was just like, I was probably order, I don't know what thousand. It was a serious situation. But am I really glad that I have this palette? Yes. I think the quality is really excellent. The shimmers are really excellent. The color story is bomb. I mean, I just don't really have anything like this in my collection. I have shades like this. Somewhat, yes, but not really. And the shades in here are really, really foiled metallics. I really like that. They're bright, they're vibrant, they're creamy. And the mattes are the same thing, like the shade Trappa and Handbook. I know my friend Kara, Beauty and the Frizz, didn't really care for this palette, but I think she had some trouble with the shimmers. And I think that's because like they were pressed different or anything, but mine is excellent quality. The shade Sam, I'm in love with. And you just get some really great options in this palette, and it just makes me so happy. Like, it looks Halloween, but I feel like you could wear this anytime, and it's just grungy if you really enjoy green shadows. So I'm looking forward to more from this brand, but I'm not looking forward because it was just a whole ordeal to get this palette. But I don't even understand, because Shroud Cosmetics used to be Strobe Cosmetics, and Strobe Cosmetics was very popular like around the 2017 year on YouTube as far as indie brands, I want to say, because they had the Divinity palette, and then they had the Creepy Cute palette, and everybody loved that. And I'm just highly confused how she was able to keep up then but couldn't keep up now. She might have had more orders, but it still seems really weird to me, and I'm really sure that I saw those Creepy Cute. I know I did. I saw Creepy Cute and the Divinity palette in the store Riley Rose, and that was like a spinoff of Forever 21. And then it had it was a makeup store, but it had like a lot of indie brands, a lot of brands that you wouldn't catch at basically Sephora or Ulta. And I saw those palettes in there, so I'm not sure how she was able to keep up with demands of that, but not with this. This girl was a one-woman show, for real. Like, it was just insane. I think my order was like 9,000. Ooh, but am I happy I have this? Absolutely. Now this brand right here, this is Nomad Cosmetics. So I tried their palettes this year and I fell in love. So I kind of started trying their palettes. It came on really on my radar last year, at the very end of last year, because they had so much success with their Orient Express palette. And I was like, I started looking and fumbling around on the website. And so I actually picked up these particular palettes last year. Now this one, this is the I think this is the Marrakesh palette. I believe that's the proper name of this palette. Yeah, it's just Marrakesh. Okay. So, you know, it's inspired. I have actually never used this palette, which is a darn shame, but one day I'm going to give it a real good go, because it has some beautiful neutrals in here and little pops of blue, but I do want to try it. Okay. The Nomad's formula is really nice. I think they have an original formula, like it's custom to them. It's not like a private label or anything like that. And they are really nice owners. Like, they have had some like little mistakes throughout the year, like with the Shanghai palette, but they've pulled that off. They've tried to make it right. I've also got the Berlin Underground, which is really beautiful. It's a really nice murky neutral palette, and I know that like their Haunted Europe palette was like a hit sensation this year, but I just felt like for me that palette wasn't necessary, because I had the Berlin Underground palette, and this is very grungy, smoky, like it's really pretty. The formula is really nice. The shimmers, they're not like bold in your face shimmers, but they are still really sparkly and opulent and just kind of gives you what you need. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just want to change your look up. You don't want to like see me from the stars shimmers. Then it's cool. Now, this one was my favorite because I just felt like it was so unique. This is the palette that they came out with this year. This is the Land of Fire and Ice. And oh my gosh, love it. Look at these tones. Like the shimmers are even more improved in this particular palette. Really sparkly, really nice to play with. You don't have to really do much work to get them on the eyes. They're going to lay down. You don't even have to really think about your brushes too much. The mattes are very creamy. The shades in the mattes are just so wonderful. So they're just mattes that I don't really have in my collection. And it's just something new and innovative because even though it's blue and it's fire, it's like they're very murky. They're icy. It just goes along with the theme. The packaging is gorgeous. You got the fire on the right here with the mirror, and then you have the land, and on the outside you have the ice. And this one is inspired by Iceland, and it was just, oh, did I put my finger? I put my finger in something. And then the nice little details on the packaging. So I'm always looking forward to what they have. And then this summer they released this particular palette, which is America Parks, and it is really gorgeous as well. Like these shimmers, they're more stand out. They're a little bit more slippery in nature because they have more mica in it. They're a little bit more shiny, but really, really beautiful. Like, every time I pull out my palettes, I'm just like, dang, I need to be using this makeup. Like I use my makeup, but let's be honest, I just have too much. The yellows and the golds. And this is just like a beautiful neutral palette. I feel like this palette is going to be really great for somebody who likes a lot of neutral looks, but they want a little pop of color and a little excitement at the same time. But then they don't want to have to work too hard for their looks, because this is what this palette is. It's really, really pretty. Every time I pull it out, I just really enjoy playing with it. And it's unique. The arrangement as well. I think the only thing I said was that I didn't really like about it. I was like, I can't see the shade names to save my life. Like, do you see how tiny they are? They blend in. I'm like, girl, can't nobody see that. But the packaging is so fun, so beautiful. I mean, we've all seen these type of designs before with the parts, but it's just executed so well, so fun, vibrant. So I'm really looking forward to this brand. Their price points, usually $30, $40 range, so pretty affordable. There's discount codes on there. So I have really enjoyed playing with my Nomad Cosmetics palettes this year. So I'm looking forward to see what they have coming down the pipeline. Now, oh my gosh. So this brand, it was like, I really wanted to try it because everybody was talking about how good this particular collection was at the beginning of the year. And then I got the collection and I was just like, I don't know. But then it solidified it for me when they came out with their collab, which is the legendary Diversa. So I am talking about Odin's Eye Cosmetics. So I have the Norns here. So we're going to start with the Norns, right? So the Norns was one of their first palettes that was a little bit more colorful in nature. And I think this is the one that kind of caught the beauty community by storm. And the packaging is just beautiful, okay? It's textured. You see the holograph and everything like that. And it's really, really just stunning. Then you have these beautiful colors. And the palettes are not too expensive. I think this is like in the $30, $40 range. This brand is out of Sweden. I think it's Sweden. If I'm wrong, I will correct it on the screen. But you have beautiful colors right here. The shimmer's really beautiful. So now I was like, okay, the shimmers are really beautiful. But then when I put them on the eyes, I was like, I don't know about the performance, okay? So it's just like, the mattes were great. I enjoyed it. But I just felt like I kind of struggled with the shimmers and I wasn't really pleased with that. Then we had the little Erd palette. So this actually had 3 mini palettes that came with this collection. So I chose this particular one because it's green and the greens are a little different and it called to me. So I retried this palette prior to the legendary Diversa collection coming out and I fell in love. I was like, oh, this is good. I just need to use it a little bit more. You know, I'm like, this is good. And Annette and Tina did an absolute fabulous job on their palette. So did Judy, but I opted not to pick up that particular red palette because her reds were pretty, but I think those are the type of reds that just, they don't always do the best with my complexion. So I opted not to get that one. But Tina, like I said, you're going to Jamaica. It's beautiful. You got a dual chrome in here. Now the shimmers are still a little chunky, so you still gonna have to work, but they are worth it. They're really beautiful. You're gonna have to either use your finger. It might be best to put down like a tacky mixing medium or something like that. You're gonna have to use the right type of brush, like a Refer P21, some type of concealer brush, just to kind of get the shades to adhere the best way. And the same thing with Annette's palette, and you just have some really, really beautiful tones in here. So I just love it so much, and it's just been like such an inspiration when I pull out these palettes. So I'm definitely looking forward to it because, you know, I think they released something else in between the Norns and this, and I was just like, I'm not checking for it. But now that these were so good, oh man. It's just like something else to add to my obsession. Next up is Adept Cosmetics. So Adept Cosmetics have been on my radar since last year. I wanted to get like their big old volume of single shadows that Lord knows I probably won't even use. But then they started coming out with palettes. So what hit it off was the Plain Jane palette and the success of that. I didn't get that particular palette, and that was like one of the first shimmer palettes that kind of hit the scene. So, but then she came out with an Hydrant, and that really just sparked my interest. Now, just to put this out there, Adept has had some trouble in the past with, you know, some negative remarks with their customers. I did pay for all of these palettes, but I have talked to the brand, and she said she's going to work on it, so we're going to see what direction that goes. So hopefully that stands true, because we kind of developed a relationship with this particular palette because this one kept breaking, and she sent me a couple. So, but let's jump into Hydrant. This is one of my favorite palettes. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so murky. We have two mattes in here, and the mattes, you're just able to contour the eyes so wonderfully. And it's just a gorgeous palette. Like, you know, I think she said she saw grunge when she did this palette, which I can see from the mattes, but I get a lot of mermaid vibes from this palette because I think it's just the purples and the blues and the pop of green. But I really love this palette. This is like one of my favorite shades. It's like one of my favorite type of gold shades. And I do kind of have this duped in my collection a little bit, but so good. So word on the street is, so I'm not sure how true this is, but word on the street is that Adept kind of had the original formula with these high foil kind of shimmers and wet shimmers, and maybe she sold it and then everybody else kind of picked it up and ran with it. So not sure how true. Plus I like how the packaging, like this one, because it's purple, does give you Natasha Denona Leela vibes, but I like it, and it's vegan leather. Then she came out with Codon, and oh, I love Codon even more because it's just so grungy. It's murky. Then we have the two mattes, and it was like the pop of pink with the turquoise. Such a gorgeous, stunning palette. Now, I would say that, you know, two of the shades right here, they're so kind of close together that you can't really tell the difference on the eyes. But, oh man, such an exciting release. And I know she's working on like Plain Jane Remastered for next year, so I'm really looking forward to it. Then she has Amulet Nude. And look, this red packaging, it does it for me. Now, this palette arrived to me kind of broken. I think it was just like one shade that was breaking on people. Mine was kind of broken a lot of places, but I've had a lot of fun. This color story is super unique. You know, you got a lot of bronzes. You have like purples, that pop of blue. This is the dark version. So the dark version had this as a blue, and the other one, I think it was like a taupe shade. But the navy blue does it for me. The shades are just gorgeous. The shimmers are gorgeous. I have no problem applying this on my eyes. I have done 3 looks with this palette on my channel, and then like as soon as I posted my video, that's when the controversy broke out. But otherwise, just the makeup is really beautiful. Now we have It's Belle Cosmetics. So It's Belle is kind of like in the frame of how I mentioned about the sugar drizzle. So right now, like I do know some backstories about the owner. Like Sugar Drizzle, I think was more nail polish, and they came out with their eyeshadow palette. But It's Belle is like the first one. They came out with the Break the Rules palette, and now they have the Flare palette. They have the Fall of Dawn palette, and I'm waiting on that to come because that color story was just so murky and so So I'm really looking forward to it. I really love these palettes. They're really affordable, but across my collection, I do have a lot of dupes because it's been a lot of shimmer palettes this year, you know? Can't resist myself. I like sparkly things, so it is what it is. But this is to break the rules. Love it so much. And these palettes have just been so much fun for me because I can literally just take like my Blends Bunny palette, put this on, or take like my Viseart Dark Mattes, pop this on. I'm good to go. So I have so much fun playing with these. And this has just been a beautiful setup. The shimmers in here are absolutely amazing. And the palette's only like, you know, about $29, $30, and there are influencer codes. So this one, I would say I have a lot of shades when it comes to another palette I'm going to show you later on. So the only shade I bought this for was the rose water shade, basically. Here's kind of like my citrine color that is called citrine in this palette, but I just kind of showed it to you in the Codain palette. I kind of have it someplace else too, so at least I have a couple backups of my favorite goldy color because it just has a beautiful shift. But the shade, I mean, you have just a lot of beautiful options in here. Some are just shimmers, and then the other ones are more like dual chromes, and the other ones are more like really flaky, just sparkly shades, and I really love it. So I'm definitely looking forward to what they're doing in the future. I know with the Fall of Dawn palette, at first I was like, if it's going to be all sparkle, I'm done. Because at this point, I'm kind of all done buying all shimmer palettes because I just have a lot in my collection unless the color story is just something so unique. And that's how I felt with the Fall of Dawn palette. So I'm going to put a picture here because that was just murky. That was just like, ooh, warm and fall looking. So it's a shame that we don't have it yet. But hopefully it's a movement. It's like, it's in pre-shipment. Hopefully get some movement on this though. So a brand that has like taken me by storm on the channel, and I feel like so many people have tried this brand because of myself, and especially because of Beauty to Friends, and Beauty to Friends has put me on, is Alien Cosmetics. Oh my gosh. And I don't even have all their palettes because there's a few that I just opted not to pick up. You know, at some point you got to draw the line. But we're gonna jump in with the All I Ever Wanted palette. So this is what I was saying, like I have a lot of dupes because she released a 20 pan palette of all dual chromes and shimmer shades, and boom, it's gorgeous. So here again we kind of have that same type of shade, but the formula from the Adept and it's Belle one, I like it better. So I like it better in those particular palettes than in this one, but it's still really beautiful. You have so many great shades in here, so many interesting shades. I love my shade Planet X and Milky Way. Those are like two of my favorite shades because I don't really have them anywhere else in my collection. So wonderful. And like she really has some fun color stories. Like we have the strawberry milkshake. So this one is out there. So if you're not into vibrant colors, but it's so great. And then Serendipity, the artist, has done a lot of artwork for her. She is going under a rebranding, which is called Unearthly Cosmetics. I think I like Alien better, so I'm not sure the exact reason why she's changing the name, but it is what it is. But I'm still looking forward to her color stories. I mean, the shadows have just been so great. The mattes are fun. The color stories are really fun. The shimmers are really gorgeous. They're kind of like those wet shimmers. This one is called Fairy Frolic. I think it has new artwork. A classic. This one is a classic. Do you see this? It's grungy. It's purple. It pops of gold, maroon. Love it. Love it. One of my favorites for sure. Then this one was a favorite by far. This is the Serendipity palette. I think it's now called a Poison Apple palette, but I have the original one. I love this. So good. Look at this. Ooh, oh my gosh. You know, it's just, you don't get a lot of color stories with this. And this brand has been so interesting. And this is the palette that kind of started off because this is the palette that Kara tried. And she said it reminded her of Muerte. I don't get those vibes. But I know what she's trying to reach for because I actually have Muerte. I'm not rubbing it in your face, Kara. But I don't get those vibes. But nonetheless, I think the color story is really, really gorgeous. You know, really, really pretty. Very impressed. So I think I got this palette last year, but I really just dug into Alien Cosmetics this year. It has just been a brand that's on my radar. Unfortunately, I have not used this palette. I had every intention. This is the Bunnies palette. And then this setup, I don't know. It's a weird setup. I don't think I really could like this particular artwork. but some of the shades in here are gorgeous. So I really need to get on the ball. We have some beautiful shimmers in here. So much makeup, so little time, only 2 eyeballs at this point. And I mean, and this is just a palette that I've bought from the new brands, the new to me brands this year. So, oh my gosh, I haven't even made my list of how many in 2020 yet. 2021 yet. I usually do a video every year of how many different eyeshadow palettes I've bought in the year. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay. Now we have Alien Cosmetics Not Normal, and I really like this. It's grungy. It's got that good purple story, purple and green. I love the Barney vibes. You're not into Barney vibes? This ain't gonna be for you. And then we also have the Low Lights palette, and this one is just full of, these are highlighters. So really fun colors. So I really do like playing with this. I mean, I like to play with it, but I got so much, so it's kind of hard to get through everything. So Alien has been one of my biggest offenders for the year. So I definitely have to show you the real big offender for the year, the brand that I found, I have fell in love with, what kind of just sparked the inspiration for this video, because this was my find of 2021, honey. My find. Hands down. Hands down, my find of 2021. Like all good things, basically, you discover them through Instagram. And so, it was a couple girls that was putting together like color combos, and I saw these shadows, and I'm talking about none other than the Glam Shop. Like literally, I did a swatch party, and you guys have come through and blessed me on that video so much. Like I think I got over 25,000 views on that video. It's crazy. More than some of my Pat McGrath stuff. So, oh my gosh. Like, this is it. So I'm going to start down at the bottom. I have this Adept palette for single eyeshadows. And honey, she's full. Okay. I don't even fool with single eyeshadows like that. I have a few. I got my Sydney Grays. I got my Colored Rain. I have some ColourPop ones. But this right here is like, if you try to take this away from me, I will fight you, okay? You are not going to get this out of my cold, dead hands. This is so freaking special. I've just never seen any shadows like this. And the brand is pretty affordable. Like I said, it's called the Glam Shop. They're out of Poland. They did have some controversy. Unfortunately, like, why do we have that controversy? Why we can't just have a clean bill of health? So, but I mean, at the end of it's what you do. It's how you handle it, what you change your course. Because everybody makes mistakes. But, so these are my single shadows from the Glam Shop. This palette has 2 sides to it. So, mind you, these are not pressed glitters. I only have 1 pressed glitter shadow in here. And it is, let me not drop it. This one right here, that's the only pressed glitter. Everything else is like called their extreme foil pigments. No, they're turbo, and then there's like super turbo ones, okay? Gorgeous. Down at the bottom right here, you have the hollow shades. All of these are holographic shades, this whole row. Yep, that whole row. So special. I just used this holographic shade in, which one was it? This one in my holiday Get Ready With Me. So, I mean, you have just never seen anything like it. These shades are special. They are duochromes. They are the sparkly of sparkly. If you love sparkle shades, you need to get on it. Glam Shop has plenty of sales. You can pick these. I have, of course, I spent a pretty penny, but I mean, it's just nothing like this, okay? I don't even fool with single shadows like that. So some of you guys have come to me asking about what shades to purchase and felt the same way. And they knew I was like, y'all, I don't even fool with single shadows like that. But these are worth it. They're so special to my collection, okay? And I have had so much fun all year long. like playing with them. And, you know, I've just gone back and back and back for more. So then we have some more duochromes. We have like the fluorescent ones. And they're not the proper names of these collections. These are the marble shades. That is the proper name. Like these ones right here, you kind of rub them together, you get the whole color. I have a video swatching all of these. I have a video swatching all of the Glam Shops down here that I have, basically. So I will definitely link them. I have a whole Glam Shop playlist, actually. So I'll just link that playlist if you're interested, actually. These ones right here, I did not get a chance to play with on camera, but I have swatched them on my Instagram. So pretty. I mean, like, just the stunning. If I had to just take something with me, this would come with me along with some other palettes. Like, amazingly beautiful. Then we have, like, I have several palettes by them also, Turbina, like, because, you know, once I discovered them, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm into it. This is gorgeous, a great shimmer palette. The quality is just amazing. The quality is really amazing with all their shadows as well. They apply really easily. I would definitely use like a glitter glue just to get maximum impact. Sometimes the finger is best with these particular shadows. We have the Totally Nude Mandala. So this is where they got in trouble because of the Hindu collection. But this one is a neutral all shimmer palette. Then I have like their spring collection where they had these tropical palettes right here. Really pretty. I did a video on these as well. So really pretty. The palettes are great also because you get a wide variety of their formulas. So if you just can't really get into the single shadows, but these single shadows are just so special. I love this one. Even though it's green, but it's green with a blue. It's just a different vibe. It's so pretty. I really enjoy this too. I mean, they have some great stuff. And it's just like they have a chocolate cherry one I was about to get, but I just resisted. So they have the Tropicana palette and really pretty as well. This is one of my least favorites though. There's so many good palettes. Some of these those three I do have a video on. This one I filmed it. I never edited it. What's wrong with me? Really beautiful purple palette. Really, they have some great monochromatic palettes also. So if you want to go and look on their website, better than ColourPop for sure. Okay, you can get UPS shipping, and that is rather quick, like 10 days usually. Oh my gosh, the Z-Lone. Are you effing kidding me? No! Oh my God! I am so mad right now. That whole shade literally just fell out. Like, I have never had anything happen to me like that. Like, people always talk about that, or you see, but like, it's all on my carpet. My bedroom carpet is beige. That's why it's always dirty in this freaking section. Like, the whole... Now I need another palette. Is this still available? I think it is. Like, I just scooped up a little bit of it. That whole shade was like, shh. I love the shade Buzz and Monster. So mad. I'm so mad. So we have Paprika. You got any surprises for me? Oh, I love this red palette. I love it so much. It is really beautiful. I never got a chance to film the Paprika. I filmed the Z-Lone palette. We got Laguna, really gorgeous as well. I never got a chance to film Laguna. Oh, I'm missing one. Laguna is gorgeous as well. Then I have the Caramel palette. It's a beautiful neutral palette. And I'm missing one. Hold on. Where's my Camo Glam? Oh my God. My favorite? The one I probably use the most. Camo Glam for sure. You got marble shades in here. You got turbo shades in here. You got regular mattes. You got shimmers. It's really pretty. Like, Yeah, I'd be mad if it happened with any palette. I would be mad because I'm just like, I gotta clean this mess up. I gotta go to work. It's eyeshadow all over my dang on floor. All right. So the brand that I tried this year, but I did not try this year, so I didn't add it into my 12, was the Clarity Cosmetics So Mesmerizing palette. And that's because, like, honestly, like, my palette came broken and they were giving me a really hard time about it. So I'm not saying I won't ever try them again, but the shimmers are really pretty. Like, the matte is broken. Well, that's why I want to hold it. This is broken, as you can see. So yeah, it's just, but they gave me a hard time about it, y'all. They were like, well, we can't see the pictures. Well, we need more proof that it's broken. Like, y'all send me my palette broken. So I hate to feel like that, especially because it's a black-owned brand. And I really do love my black-owned brands, but do better. So, oh my God, that Glam Shop, that shit, it took me out. Took me out. Anywho, these are the brands. These are the brands that I tried this year. This is real reaction. Oh my God. So these are the brands that I tried this year. It was really amazing to try these brands, especially because I have gotten into a lot of indie makeup because honestly, as a makeup lover and I guess somewhat of a collector, some of the mainstream brands have just been really boring. I'm not into it. It's been lackluster. And these formulas over here have been really innovative and just really creative and just different and just out the box. So that's why I've kind of transitioned over it. I wasn't planning on it, but it just happened naturally. You know, in the past, I've done a lot of Too Faced and Huda and just the regular, you know, probably brands that you can get in Sephora, but not a lot of indie brands are kind of creeping into Sephora, like the Danessa Myricks and of course I love my Pat McGrath, and I've played in some other indie brands prior, but this year I would say I've tried the most new eyeshadow brands because it's just been so much fun, so interesting, and just I have really loved these palettes in my collection. I'm so freaking upset about the Zilong palette. I love that palette. I love that shade. I probably have a shade that's similar in my collection. So at least it wasn't that shade Buzz because, oh my gosh, this one is super stunning. I put the biggest crumbles in there. I don't even know why. It literally freaking disintegrated. Like but you have so many good palettes. I'm like, and I store my stuff well. So I don't even jostle it around. I am done. Good night, America. I'm about to bid y'all adieu. I'm going to work. I am too outdone. Please let me know down below. Have you tried any of these brands? What new brands have you tried this year? Let me know down below. I'm really excited about 2022. What's going to come down the pipeline, but I need to stop buying so much makeup. And it's not because I can't afford it, because I do budget and plan for it, but it's just a lot, to be honest. And part of me has accepted it, and part of me is like, it's a lot. So let me know how you feel down below. Give me a big thumbs up for this video. Let me know how you feel in the comments. I've said that 3-4 times already. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video. I mean, it just really took me. I can't believe that shade broke on me like that. Subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with all of that being said, you already know what time it is. It is time for the chat. Hey, chat. Hey, chat. We'll try to leave this on a good note. Chat. Hey, chat. Chat. All right, y'all. Bye. Now I gotta clean this mess up. God dang.